Okay, welcome to your Combining Like Terms and Simplifying Expressions flip video. So let's start with some vocab. When plus or minus signs, so we have plus and we have minus, separate an algebraic expression into parts. Each part is a term. Okay? The numerical part of a term that contains a variable is the coefficient. So if you had something like 7x, 7 would be your coefficient. Alright, so now, terms that contain the same variable are like terms. And that could be something like, could be x and 3x would be like terms. Or something like 7x to the third power and 5x to the third power. So these have the same variables, and so do these. But it's important to note the difference. This has an exponent of 1, as does this, and this has an exponent of 3, as does this. So I can only combine things with the same exponents as well. Now, a constant is a term without a variable. So that would be if we had something like x plus 7, this 7 would be the constant. And I apparently really like 7 today. So, are 5x and 5y like terms? No, because this one has x and this one has y, and those are not the same variables. Okay, how about this one? Are 3 and 7 like terms? Well, yes, because they're both constants. They're both constants, which means it doesn't have a variable. All right, and then I have 6xy and negative 2xy. These are like terms because their variables are both xy. So this one works. All right, next we have an example. So, combining like terms, draw lines before every addition and or subtraction symbol to separate each term. So, I'm going to draw a line here, 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 and here. So, we need to find everything that is similar or like to 4x squared. Well, I have 4x squared here. This one's 16x, but it doesn't have that squared on it, so I can't combine it. So the only one that I can combine would be these two. And then I just add those coefficients like we normally do. So 4 plus 17 would give me 21x squared. I'm done with those, so I'm going to cross them out. Now I have negative 16x, so I need to find another term that has just an x. So if I look down here, I don't see any, so I can't combine it with anything. So I just have to leave it alone. Now I have plus xy, so I need to find another one that has xy. If I look down my line, I see that I have positive 15xy. So when I combine those, I get 16xy. Because what's really in front of here is a 1, right? So I'll cross those out because I've used them. Now I have negative 12, which is a constant because it doesn't have a variable. So if I add negative 12 and negative 9, I get, let's see, negative 21. I can cross those out. And then the only ones I have left are 8y and negative 33y. Those are like terms because they both have y and the y's have the same exponent. So if I add those together, I should get minus 25y. So if you rotate your little circle around, you should have use color to identify which terms have the same variable and exponent. So if I go back to that same one over here and I clear my annotations, then if I wanted to, I could highlight each term that was the same. So I have my 4x squared term, my 17x squared, I've got my negative 16x, but that one didn't combine with anything, so I can't do anything to that. I've got my plus x squared and my plus 15xy. Oh, I said x squared, I'm sorry, xy. Alright, I've got my negative 12 constant because it doesn't have a variable, and negative 9. Don't forget to include the negative sign with it. Alright, then I've got my negative 8y and my negative 13y. And using those colors is just a way to help you organize which terms that you can actually combine, because you can only combine like terms. And that means has the same variable, and that variable has the same exponent. So once you're all done with that, you can combine terms that are like, then rewrite the simplified expression. So that's what we have already done. This is just the last final step. So simplifying expressions. So any term can be multiplied or divided, and only like terms can be added or subtracted. So when we multiply or divide, we're good to go with that. But when we're adding or subtracting, we have to make sure that it's like terms only. Alright, so let's do some practice. So here we have addition, subtraction, and addition, which means that we have to make sure we're working with like terms. So I've got 3x here, and I need to find a like term, and that's negative x. So when I combine those, 3x minus x would give me 2x. And then if I combine my other terms, then I would get positive 7y and positive 3y. So if I add those together, I should get positive 10y. So this is my simplified expression, okay? Now, here's the tricky part about the next one. So this one has multiplication, which means I don't have to worry about like terms just yet. So if I have this being multiplied by the entire parentheses, I'm using the distributive property. Okay? So which means I have to distribute this 3x to both the 4y and the 2x. So when I have 3x times 4y, I have to multiply 3 times 4 to get 12. And the x and the y can't simplify, so I just have to write them as x times y. When I have 3x times 2x, I have to multiply the 3 and the 2 to get 6. And the x times x, well, we've been talking about that in class. When you take a number and multiply it by itself, it's that number squared. And I'm going to keep this positive because positive times a positive equals a positive. Well, these two things are not like terms because I have an xy over here and I have an x squared over here. So this is my most simplified expression. All right, let's keep going. So I've got another term out here being multiplied by a set of parentheses. So I need to distribute this 6 to both the 3y and the negative y. That negative is important. That negative is attached to that y. So when I multiply 6 times 3y, I need to multiply the 6 times the 3 to get 18, and then not forget about my y. Okay? Then I have 6 times negative y. I really have a 1 in front of here, right? So what is 6 times negative 1? Well, negative 6. And I can't forget about my y. However, these are like terms because they're separated by subtraction, so that's important for me to think about. So when I combine these like terms, I have 18y's minus 6y's, and that leaves me with 12y's. Alright, so for this one, multiplication and division is okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do those. So when I multiply negative 2x times 2, I'm going to get negative 4x, because negative 2 times 2 is going to give me negative 4. I'm going to keep my sign the same. And then I have 2x times 3y, so I can work with these two numbers. So 2 times 3 is going to give me 6. And then I have x times y. Well, there's no easier way to write that, so I just have to write it as 6y. So now that I have this addition, now I'm worried about combining like terms. However, we have an x here and an xy here. So do we have like terms? No. So this is our most simplified expression. And that concludes our combining like terms and simplifying expressions.